Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to you guys live from the hotel here at the Hilton Garden Inn. I do not have a green screen. Actually, that's the view from the parking lot, and God only knows what you're going to see wandering behind me. Um, so, I was thinking about some things today, and I got to go over to the Cajun Dome to see what our space looks like. And then one of the one of the members brought up the the question about signage. So I thought this would take a good opportunity to talk to you guys about signage, about packaging, all of the things that we need to have as a vendor to show off who we are. So we're going to break it down into some little bit of categories here. So first things first, if you have a vendor booth, trying to decide how to display your name as a vendor. Do you put in a banner? Do you put in a small sign? You really have to take each vendor space, each vendor booth that you have, and look at it from a different point of view. Look at it from a point of view from the client's point of view. When you're looking at that space, does it tell you who you are? Does it say to you that, this is X, Y, and Z space? Okay. So I know some of you guys rent space and whatnot, and you have little shops that you rent space in, which is fantastic. But what you want to do is look at it to where it's not overwhelming your space. So maybe a banner's not the thing. Maybe it's not a big 2x4 banner. Maybe it's only a 2x3. Maybe it's only a 2x2. Maybe that's what you need for your space. Maybe you don't want something that's necessarily horizontal. Maybe you want something that's vertical. Maybe your center of your vendor space is a round table, for an example, or a table in general. You want to put something that is going to be large enough, substantial enough to say who you are without it taking up a lot of room and taking up a lot of space. Now, the downside to putting your name on a table, on the front of your table, is you're forcing people to look down. Okay, you're forcing them to look at the floor. You want them to look up at your space. You don't necessarily want it in your face draping on your table. Now, I'm not saying that's a bad idea. Those are great for craft shows and all of that type of stuff. But when you're in like a mercantile type of thing where you have a shop, that's not something you really want down to the floor. You want people to bring it up to the table, right? So anything that's table height or higher is generally the go-to when it comes to putting any sort of signage for your business. Things that are on the floor or draping over your table, yes, can you absolutely use those things for draping over your table? You absolutely can. But is it a recommended? Again, you're drawing the eye down. We want to bring them up to what you're looking at. Tabletop or behind you if possible. Now, if you don't have something, you don't have a wall behind you, remember we can build PVC pipe to hold our signage, right? Now, I did see some comments where you can use banners and you can use yard signs. Absolutely, you can. You just really have to look at your space. And metal signs as well. Look at what you have and then decide if that is where you need to be. Okay, so that's for a vendor booth space that you're renting and you're coming in. Think of a hair salon, you're renting a booth, that kind of thing. So think about your signage, and your signage might move depending on how your display is for that particular, holiday and whatnot. Now, if you're going to a craft fair, again, having something over your table, in front of your table, yes, you can, but also bring something up to the eye. So put it in 2 different points, right? Because we want to draw the eye up to our stuff. Never want people looking at their feet. You don't want people walking around like this, looking at everything. Okay. You want people to come up, look at you, the business owner, look at your things that are here. That's why we put stuff on risers. That's why we put things that are up on back walls and all of that type of stuff. That's why we do with those things. We don't want them on the floor. I see plenty of displays that are on the floor, and I know for one, you're not going to look on the floor for things. You're going to look up. You want your eyes to go up. So for a craft fair, so to speak, to call it something, right? Craft fair, vendor show, bring the eye up. Again, have different signage depending on where you are. The different signage is definitely key to have in your wheelhouse because you never know when you're going to need to switch it up. right? If you have a big space, like Claire's got a big space for this vendor show. This is our biggest space that we have for our vendor show. She has a 10 by 20 foot booth. So this is our largest one in the shows that her and I have done together. And so we're going to draw the eye up. We both brought our banners because we want our banners to, be the back candy, if you will, to our display. And so we get to juggle how we're going to display the stuff that she sells in a booth that size, right? Because now you're like, oh, how do I fill it all in? We're going to work through that. I'm not really sure. So we haven't gotten to that point yet. She's not here yet. So there is that. Now we're going to move into the packaging phase. So again, having different size signs, whether it be a small 5x7, whether it be all the way up to a 2 foot by 4 foot banner, right? It really just depends on your space. Couple things that I'd like to note in that signage. If you have a banner or a large sign that you're putting on the back part, put something smaller on your table with a QR code. You don't want people going back to where your banner is that says it loud and proud what your space is. You want the QR code to be up on the table where everybody is. If you want them to shop, maybe in your website, right? Or if you want them to go to your Facebook, you can link your QR code to whatever you want. And you can have multiple QR codes, right? So this way they could just click the QR code and then be off and be able to go and shop at your store, other than the things that you have in front of you. Because remember, we're more than just a vendor booth. We're more than just a craft show. We have other items that we sell. And so with that said, we definitely want to make sure that we have signage in multiple locations. If you have multiple tables, it is perfectly acceptable to have a little small thing to remind people who you are, again, with a QR code, right? We just, again, little subliminal messaging here and there about who you are as a company. Now, in your packaging, I have talked and preached about this about a bajillion times in the last 5 years, and that's about your packaging. You can go very simple with your packaging. Let's say you're a shipper. You could go very simple. You could just put a sticker on it, let them know who you are, and be that. You don't have to put a ton of freebie stuff on the inside of that packaging. What you can do is have just a card that you made in Canva, right? Slip that in, has all the information, maybe has a coupon code in there if you want, maybe a freebie if that's what you're into. That's also perfectly acceptable. Or it's just very simple. Now, there are people, and it depends on for me. So you guys all know that I run multiple shops. So I have some shops that want bare minimum. They don't want to pay the extra for it. So we do bare minimum on their packaging. It literally is just the printer label from a Rollo and their invoice. That's it. They didn't want to go the extra little bit to tell people who they are. They don't want freebies. They don't want coupon codes. They want it. That's it. They're all about making the money and they don't want to spend it on anything. That's fine. That's what they can do. Now I have another shop that wants the packaging on the outside, wants the QR codes, wants the stickers inside and outside, purchase the freebies that go inside everything because they want the extra mile, right? And then I have shops that are in between. Now you're going to say, okay, Nick, so then what do you do for your shop? So for my sticker shop, I keep it simple. I make sure that it's teal packaging because as you guys know, I'm all about the teal. And yes, my wardrobe for this weekend is dripping in teal. You couldn't imagine, although I'm in black today. So you have branding, right? So I've branded it. I have my teal. I occasionally put stickers on the outside of it, but I do keep my stuff simple. I put some stuff on the inside because I would rather put the money into the items that I'm selling as a blanks vendor or whatever you want to call me, right? Sticker vendor. I want you guys to be able to get the most bang for your buck in that. So that's what I do for those. Now, on my physical side, I put in some freebies like hair twisties. I'll put in a keychain. I might put in car coasters, stickers. I always put in a little freebie for the ones that are my stuff that are my physical shop. Because again, we are trying to save pennies where we can and do the best that we can to keep those pennies in our pocket, right? So adding freebies to your packaging is completely subjective. You decide what you want to spend and have a budget. I only want to spend X number of dollars per package to put a freebie in. And then you make sure you add that cost in to when you're figuring out your cost of your product. Okay, so an extra 50 cents is so that I can add those freebies into their packaging. That's how you can kind of get away with that without it costing you an arm and a leg. So you can brand yourself that way. Now, when you are giving freebies, that's a great way to brand yourself. It's a great way to put in who you are and where they can find you, whether it's a magnet, whether it's a free sticker, whether it's a hair twist, the ones that we make out of the rolled elastic. Put your brand all over it. It doesn't matter. People are either going to keep it or use it. That's just how you have to look at it. There's no middle ground. You're not getting to them as another business to business conversation. You're not looking to them to brand them. You're looking to sell your brand, right? So packaging is definitely one of those clever things that it's a mix, right? So let's look at it from a bajillion points of view and then decide what works for you. There is no right or wrong way in this conversation. You're either going to put a whole lot of effort and money into it, or you're going to go to a bare minimum. But either way, stop putting your stuff in someone else's packaging. All right. I know we like to reuse our Amazon boxes, and that's fine. That's a great opportunity to put on there on the outside of that box. We like to recycle our boxes. So carbon footprint. There are stickers out there. I sell them. Those are stickers that you could put on the outside of those boxes that you do reuse, right? Because they're good boxes, so we should reuse them, right? But on the inside, make that reusable box full of goodness, full of great quality, how you package on the inside of that. Whether it's rolling it in tissue paper, it really doesn't matter. I mean, it's up to you, but don't be going through and using Walmart and Target bags. Except like here in New York, well, I'm not here in New York, but in New York, we don't have plastic bags anymore. So we're not packaging our stuff in Walmart and Target and Kohl's bags, right? We're now having to use recyclable bags. That might actually be a good freebie for those states that have to go to that, is get smaller bags and send those to your clients, especially if it's a new client. Have your brand on the outside. People are still going to use them because they're reusable, right? So that might be worth the investment to put that in as a freebie. It kind of markets who you are. Now, I know JDS used to, I'm not sure if they still do, they had a polywoven, very, very thin bag that I used with a couple of my vendors, and I literally put vendors' logos all over it. And that was a freebie when they came in the door for a craft fair I did at the local high school. So that not only branded all the companies that were there, but they got to use it as a shopping bag. And then that's how that got to be with their websites and everything else. So make sure you're branding it with your stuff. And if you're going to use somebody else's brand, like an Amazon box, put a sticker on there, letting your client know, hey, we recycle around here, and that's what we're doing. And make sure you do that as well if you're going to reuse the Walmart bag. I just want you guys to look as professional as you can. It's going to literally be different. I could make the same mug, wrap it in a Walmart bag, stuff it with whatever, and people are instantly going to go, oh, right? It's an assumption thing. Unfortunately, that's what it is. You're going to look and see how it is, and you're going to, oh, right? But then over on the flip side, if it's beautifully packaged, it could be a crap item in the box, but if it's beautifully packaged, the initial thought is there that it's well done, right? You instantly have played the mind game. So let's play the mind game, right? And whatnot. Yes, Cheyenne did experience what it's like to get a package from me. I went a little overboard. I packaged her whole package with stickers. But I try to put stickers on things when it comes to my physical stuff. Again, and I try to do it for my sticker packs and whatnot. So those are my thoughts. Am I always perfect at it? No, I'm not. I'm not always perfect at it at all. I still struggle with it to this day, but I still don't use somebody else's packaging. I still make sure I brand it with color. I still make sure that even if it doesn't say the Sassy Subber or it doesn't say LPB Designs, it's still within my brand colors. Now you're saying, Nikki, you have two businesses. How do you keep track of the brands? Believe it or not, I strategically branded both of mine with the same colors. So all of my stuff, all of my packaging literally flows between the two, and then I don't have to worry about it. I don't mind me. I'm in the big hall right now here at the hotel in the lobby area. Beverly was sleeping. So we just have to do what's best for us. Okay, so whether we're doing our signage, and it could be a little tiny sign, or it can be large signage for your stuff, it really just speaks volumes. Now, I could probably walk around here and I could show you how they infiltrated here at the Hilton their own signage, whether it's on the walls or it's on the tabletop. Somehow they put in there all the things that are still Hilton Garden Inn, right? You find it everywhere. So I want you guys to set out, all right, in your day and see how often you see their brand colors and names. And that's how you can add the signage to your stuff, right? So vendor booth. You're renting that vendor booth, and Patty Gorski was the one that asked for that. What kind of signage do you use? You have to see your space, right? So she has a vendor booth, but now she's going to vendor shows. They're two different beasts, but yet the same. Okay, so a vendor booth is something that is up all the time, and she goes and she fills it in and she changes out the stock based on seasons, holidays, all of that jazz. Her signage can move amongst that whole display, again, to give some visual interest. Whereas a vendor table or spot at like a craft fair, you get one shot at this because it's not a weekly, daily thing. It's a one shot deal. So you want people to know and remember who you are. So vendor booths, they can come in and out periodically, day, week, month, and that's where your spot is. Craft fairs get one shot. So make it a memorable one. We have some new signage that is coming out, and I will be able to share it with you this weekend about something that Claire made for me that you guys will be able to get as well. And you guys can do other things than just banners. Yes, I know I print banners. I do print stickers. I print banners. That is my thing here in the Sassy Suburb. I do allow Marvin to print banners and whatnot and sell them into my group. That is something that is acceptable. That's just, I understand that, but I also understand metal signs, MDF signs cut in different shapes, acrylic signs, QR codes. All of that is necessary for signage in your space, no matter where you are. I am absolutely passionate about this. As you guys can tell, I'm literally taking the time out of a vendor show while I had some downtime to teach you guys all of this. Now, if you've got any questions, please put them in the comment section. I would love to be able to answer them for you to the best that I can. Again, not perfect at this, not the professional at this, but I definitely can say after doing craft fairs since I was 12 years old with my mom and then moving into my own business, I've gotten much better at it with subliminal messaging, because you guys literally think teal and oh, it's got to be Sassy Suburb because that's just how it is, teal and glitter and fun, right? So I want you guys to be able to have people go, oh, that's ... right? So there you go. Ask the questions away. I'm going to look in the comment section, see who's all here. Hi, everybody, to everybody's here. Thanks for coming. I appreciate it. Hopefully I answered your questions on all the things. When you're working with one table craft fair, signage space is definitely at a premium. It absolutely is. So build your sign into your space. Build your space around it. So you don't have to have huge signage, Patty, but definitely want tabletop signage. Now, could you have something draping over the table at a craft fair? Yes, you can. Just remember, though, you want it big enough because people crowd the table. They block the front of your table so they don't get to see who you are. The signage on the table is going to be a lot more readable. Bring your colors in, bring your logo in to that signage on the table. Remember, you don't necessarily have to put the wording on that signage that floats over the table. You can just put your logo. You know what I mean? So in the signage on your table, though, you could take something that's an 8x10, very minimal, 8x10, add a QR code, add your website, all of your details onto there, who you are, like I said, all of your details on something that's 8x10, right? So that's probably a nice size for a small table type display. Nothing too crazy and huge. Now, if you do happen to get a space where you have a back wall, you can definitely hang something off of that back wall, right? Again, signage in the front, put your logo. drape something over. You can use Marvin's table runners. Absolutely. I did see that. It's a great way. You could still use that. Another idea, just go get a sheet. Crimp the edges of the sheet, make sure it is a polyester sheet, and then print your logo on that, or have somebody print your logo on it, whatever it may be. You could do HTV, direct to film. You can do anything really for the front of your table. Could you put a banner? You can. You absolutely can. But just put some signage also on your table is all I'm saying. You definitely want signage on top of the table, because if people are literally standing in front of it and blocking it, you're not going to see it. It's going to be a lot harder. Legs are in the way, right? And I know you're like, well, Nikki, they're in front of the table. Yes, people are moving quickly, but their eyes are up. They're not looking down. So an 8 by 10 would be the ideal space for a regular just table size. Now, as for different signage, if you didn't want to do that 8 by 10, because again, space is at a premium, knock it down, but put it into different spots. Make sure all your packaging for your items has your logo, has a QR code on it. Again, the QR code can go at anything. It doesn't have to be a website. Maybe you don't have a website. You need a QR code. I can help you with that free of charge. We can link it. We can even make it the color of your logo. So that's awesome. Like pick up one of the colors because it's a single color. We could definitely do that. If you have Canva can help you do that as well. So definitely think about the whole QR code. People just take a picture and there you go. Put it on your business cards, right? That's a great way. You got a business card, you only have one, have them scan the QR code, right? So put that information on as many things. Plus, if you do have a website, put your .com on there as well, because not everybody knows how to use a QR code. So make sure you do double duty with that. You put your .com if you have it, or your Facebook address if you don't have the .com, because again, there are some people, mainly in the older generation, that isn't very familiar about how to use a QR code. The kids all know, they got it. Anybody pretty much under 50 knows how to use a QR code. There are definitely few that are older than that. I'm not saying you don't, but there are lots that still don't know how to use a QR code. I don't want to say it's new. It's really not new. It's just not something that you see everywhere, but we're getting there slowly. What about making one of Marvin's table runners with a repeat logo just for a background underneath the display? Absolutely. That is a beautiful idea. You have a solid white tablecloth, or you have a solid black tablecloth, and you use that to add some visual interest as your fabric to put on top of it. You absolutely can. Again, adding in all the things that you can possibly use it for is a great way. So again, I'm not saying no to it in front of the table. Just keep in mind, don't have that be your only spot. Don't just sell the front of your table, sell what's on top of your table, right? Or behind it. Now, if you don't have a wall space, find out from the craft show if you're able to display stuff on a PVC pipe, and then you can hang your banner and sign from there. See if that's acceptable. Sometimes they do allow it. I ran a few craft fairs, Christmas craft fairs for the local high school. And that was something I said, absolutely. We might not have walls in the middle of the gym, but you can add a wall if you want to. And that was absolutely acceptable as well. As long as I stayed within the footprint of what they allowed me or what I allowed them, it was fine by me. I didn't care how you displayed in that space, as long as you stayed within your space. Oh, thank you, Paulette. I appreciate that. It's a caramel coffee day. Let's see. I think that's it for right now. I know this was a lot of information. I know that signage and packaging are huge struggles for us because we don't want to do it wrong. There's really no wrong way. As long as your name is out there, I don't care how you got it there, right? As long as your name is out there, as long as you're putting the things up there that need to be up there, as long as you are letting people know who you are, between business cards that you can print yourself. You don't have to go to Vista for that. You can definitely print them for yourself off your printer using some cardstock. I just did mine for the show here, and I'll show you what I did for mine. You can make scratch cards. You can go make your own scratch cards so that they can win something, or they can get a percentage off, or they could get free shipping when they add this code in. And you know how many. Again, lots and lots of information that you could put all on that little tiny card, right? You can make your thank you cards. You guys have seen me make my thank you cards that I've slipped inside my packages. And for a few months, I had put recipes on there, family loved recipes on those cards. So they kind of became a connection between you and me as a client and as the person who is selling to you. You're like, oh, that's a really cool recipe. Let me cut that off and save it for future use, right? But you looked at it and went, oh, that came from the Sassy Subber. I know exactly where that came from, right? So again, brand yourself in however you can, from your signage to your packaging. Try not to use somebody else's brand and packaging because you want to sell you, not them. Right. So there's the moral of that story. I hope this does help. Thanks, guys, so much for joining me for my not so virtual background here. It's nice seeing something different behind me besides my shop space that's small. So I look forward to seeing you guys. Claire will be here in about an hour. She will be getting here, I believe it is. So I'm super excited about that. Let's see. Yep. Oh no, in about 2 hours. In about 2 hours, she'll be here. So I'm excited for that. Her getting here and us doing all the things. So again, if you're just watching this, thanks so much. And make sure you guys go back and watch the rewind of this. And so you guys can learn more. It is on my YouTube channel. So you can always go to youtube.com/the Sassy Subber and watch all of my videos and lives. You can watch both of them from everything that I have done over the last 5 years, because 2023, we are celebrating 5 years of the Sassy Subber. Thanks, guys, so much for watching. I will be live again from the trade show floor, and I look forward to having you join us as Claire and I and Beverly get her booth space ready, and I meet up with Sprite. So I'm looking forward to that. So I'll see you guys all real soon. You know where, on the flip side.